Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great day. So this is a clip from a previously recorded video. This is a much shorter clip of it. But as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. And I'm invested in closing companies. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into the clip. Updated Cipher. My plan is to update these spreadsheets every day, at least one miner, while we go through this the remainder of the month here and get into May. So that way when we get the April production updates, we'll have everything here. We'll update the numbers here and we'll have a nice updated dashboard for everything. Okay, so Cipher, we've gone over this before. You guys know how many shares are outstanding. The stock price right now is at $2.34. Market cap is at 581 million, half a billion roughly, which is really good for them compared to where they are right now. And I think the investors are definitely giving them a lot more future earnings growth potential than some of the other miners that we speak about, such as Bitfarms, CleanSpark, some other ones as well in here. Okay, current hash rate is about 4.7 exahash, future hash rate about 6 exahash. They have about 1.2 exahash left to get installed. And we can see here that their monthly BTC mined has been growing nicely. The only thing is between July and around November is where they were mining with a joint venture where they were getting 49% of the stake, which wasn't being reported really as revenue, but more or less being reported as assets. So that's kind of throwing some things off. December, they started to do some of their own self-mining, which we can see obviously a nice increase there of 129 Bitcoins being added that month. And then January obviously helped out as well as they have continued to grow here quite nicely. Okay, BTC, HODL, and market cap, what that entails. So HODL position right now is about 2% of their market share. Their market share otherwise is 97.91% of everything else. Hash rate left, we already talked about that one. BTC HODL right now is 427. They did sell about 451 Bitcoin here last month, and they mined about 413, so they sold more than they mined. And then when we look at the month over month difference as far as how much they've mined Bitcoin, they had a really good month here in December where they grew quite nicely, and then every month ever since then has been coming down a little bit. But their hash rate has also been kind of coming down a little bit as well. They grew quite nicely here in the beginning of the year. BTC HODL, you can see that's been going up as well and kind of averaging right around 400, some 420 roughly. It's been kind of averaging, which is good to see as well. So they do have plenty of HODL that they can utilize if they need to. And then efficiency-wise, we've seen this with other miners as well. Efficiency was coming down for them, and it is coming down for other ones as well. Not a big threat there. BTC sold, it looks like they sold 313 in January, 357 in February, and 451 in March, which is fine. But because based on their growth, I can see why they're selling it to obviously fund growth and pay expenses, so that's fine there. And then when we look at hash rate and revenue here, we can see how quickly their hash rate ramped up here, especially in December. They went up 1.8 exahash just from nothing. That's basically a little more than half of where Hut 8 and Hive are at right now. So yeah, about half of where they are. Hut is at 2 point something, Hive is at around 3. So like I said, a little bit more than half of where they are. And then obviously beating them in just another month, they just beat Hut 8 and Hive on their hash rate here really quickly. And then you can see it has continued to go up, but we've seen smaller increases as additions to each month. So we started at 1.8 exahash, then we went 1.4, almost 1.5, 900 petahash, 520 petahash, and we'll probably continue to see that come down a little bit here as they basically fill up as it is. Okay, monthly revenue, you can also see that that has been going up quite nicely here. Like I said, the beginning of the year, July through right around November, was their mining of Bitcoin, but it was through a joint venture where they have 49%. That wasn't being reported as revenue, it was being reported more of an asset, but I did have it here as far as, because they did report what they mined, more or less, so I kind of broke it out across those months. And then you can definitely see here in December through now March, they've had a really nice increase in revenue based on their own self-mining as well. And I still have a little question on that, whether or not that entails some of that joint venture Bitcoins are added to that as well, which could possibly drive their self-mining revenue down. But we'll get clarification on this when they report their Q1 results, and we'll see actually what that entails, okay? Hash difference, we went over that. Bitcoin sold value, they sold about 11.3 million last month, 8.3 the month prior, and 6.3 in January. And then the last 4 quarters revenue, we really don't have a lot of data here. We only have Q4 for them at 3 million roughly. This current quarter that we're in, it's estimated to be about 23.5 million, but that's based on all of the Bitcoins that reported. Like I said, some of those Bitcoins could be part of that joint venture, which would be reported as assets, not revenue. And then last 4 quarters operating costs, very low costs here of operation in Q4. They were still, getting things energized, getting things ready for the real big push here in December. So that's why the costs are pretty good. Other metrics we can see here, cost to mine 1 Bitcoin. That's not going to be accurate based on that they really just ramped up production here in really December. So $1.9 to $2,000, that seems really low to me. I'm sure we're going to get a little bit better numbers here when we get through Q1 numbers for them. Bitcoin mined quarterly, also 378 for Q4. That was just that 1 month of December, so we'll get more data as that comes in. Debt to equity ratio, we do have some of that information provided to us, and we can see that that has been increasing. So it's still not too bad, but lower is better on this, and current ratio, higher is better as well. They started out 11 in Q1, and they're down to 1.18. And we can see that based on the total current assets, those have been coming down to 47 million here in Q4, while total current liabilities has been increasing to 40.3 million. So they do have enough, at least one time over, to pay the current debt with the current assets that they do have. Now, institutions, as far as institutions are concerned, those have come in kind of up and down here. We only have really 3 months worth of data on this, but we did have let's see here, this was in February, February. They had 27 million shares owned by institutions. That went down by almost half here to 12.8 in March, right? Do I have that data right? Or was that January? Well, that would have been for January, yeah, because when I checked, these are for the month of January. So this would have been for month of January, February, and March. Same thing, up came, they actually stayed the same, but the percentage went down, which leads me to believe that they had actually less or a little bit of dilution with their shares possibly. Price targets are still pretty close to where they were. We do have only one buy rating for them with a $3 price for the high, $2.90 for the average, and $2.70 for the low. They're currently at $2.34, so they're within that kind of analyst ratings. I have actually $1.73 to $1.15. If we use the 50% net income at $1.15, that's kind of where I'm looking at with a P of 20, because they have been growing quite nicely. But it looks like the analysts are giving them a little bit more than that based on possibly future growth, which if you look at it, right, the last 3 quarters, they only generated about $5 million in revenue. But just this current quarter, that's estimated, we're at about 23.5 million. That's a huge growth for them. And if you use that going forward for the next couple of quarters, well, you can see how the price of the stock right now is at 234 because they are getting a lot of, benefit from that, right? Future possible growth. And sometimes they're being valued like that. Sometimes the miners aren't being valued like that. So this is just the way they're being valued. I think they're a little bit overvalued based on my numbers right now. But I think some of the institutions and investors are valuing it more on future growth than the current growth or current revenue that they have right now. Okay, and that's kind of how I value them. All right, so that's it. I mean, other than that, I think that's all the metrics we have here. Then we got raw data as always. That's going to be down there. And it's a great way to kind of take a look at all the information here. So tomorrow we'll probably do bit farms, and the day after we'll do bit digital, then we'll go Argo, and then we'll go to the right side of the chart as well. So let me know what you guys think of all this. And as always, this is going to be available to my Patreon members, which that has been growing really nicely. So thank you to everyone there that has joined and is supporting the channel that way. You will get access to this later on tonight, along with anything else that I update. So thank you so much for being a member there. Thank you so much for watching also. I hope you guys did enjoy this. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. I mean, we'll see where Bitcoin goes. We'll see where the miners go. Like I said, I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback in Bitcoin. We'll see how far down it goes, but nonetheless, I think it's a healthy pullback a little bit to give us more room to run up in the near term. I still think price target for Bitcoin is right around 40,000 by the end of the year, potentially. We may be in some choppy waters here through, especially the summertime. Summertime is usually pretty choppy. And then as we get into the holidays as well, but we'll see. I'm kind of guessing 40,000. If we get above that, I'll be happy, but that's kind of my low price where I think Bitcoin will be, okay, by the end of the year. So that's it. Like I said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great night. Bye.